Alrighty. Now then, let me get my professional teacher thing going. So, alrighty, class. I am glad for you all to come in today. For tonight, we shall be learning about. Oh, right. I forgot I always do this. Scribble, 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 scribble. Scribble, 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 scribble. Let me just go back over here. Ha! We shall be learning about the vampires. Okay, so. Vampires are one of the most iconic mythological type of creatures with so many different types and species throughout many myths and legends of the world. Vampires are often described as a type of corporeal undead humanoid who sustain themselves by feeding off the blood of the living, with many vampires often targeting loved ones or neighbors first. There are many different kinds of vampires, but the most common description is being pale, animated corpses with sharp teeth, claws, and sometimes pointy ears. Guess it just depends on the stuff here and there. Anyways, as mentioned before, there are many different types of vampires, from the energy stealing Stirgois of Romania to the head detaching apes of Cambodia. There are also the Philippines Mandurugo, female ring vampires, the Slavic wailing Plakavac, and the Portugal Bruxo and Bruxa that uses witchcraft. But the most common are those of European, which are the typical vampires. Of course, roots of vampires can be traced all the way back to Hebrew and even Mesopotamian times, when demons would often have these vampiric traits. Anyways, like how there are many different types of vampires, there are also many different powers and abilities that vampires have as well. Some of the most common powers that vampires have are shapeshifting, like becoming bats, fog, or wolves. They also have superhuman strength and speed. Some also have psychic powers like hypnosis to trap their targets, telekinetic powers, and even mind reading. Other abilities include immortality, flight, animal manipulation, and even healing from what could be fatal wounds. Oh boy, that's sanity. Anyways, vampires have many myths and superstitions about them. The most common ones is that they must be invited into a home. They have a bad habit of counting things like seeds or grains. They can't cross running water. Sunlight is bad. And they can't even see themselves in the mirror. However, some of these superstitions are brought up by Hollywood and movies, like the sunlight. While it is true that vampires come out at night, myths don't often tell of vampires dying by sunlight. In fact, it's more of a thing that daytime weakens vampires' abilities and make them appear more human-like. Also, it might be due to the fact that vampires are nocturnal creatures, so they may not like the light all that much. Anyways, another one is a mirror. However, the reasoning for that is due to the fact that people of the past will use silver backing, and silver was a weakness to vampires. However, it is unclear to me whether this is a truth. Let me repeat that. It is unclear to me whether this is true to the vampire can't see their own reflection, regardless of the silver backing or not. So that's kind of like more of a thing that y'all gotta decide on. But anyways, speaking of weaknesses, as powerful as vampires are, they also have weaknesses to boot. Silver, like I mentioned before, is considered a major weakness since it's related to the fact that silver was used to wear off evil. Holy objects like the crucifix and holy water are also weaknesses. Fire can easily burn vampires, and decapitations and stakes are a common way to keep a vampire in the ground. And rarely enough, garlic is a real weakness of vampires, as garlic was used as a protective properties against evil spirits. So make sure to have some on hand. Also, rotting water is also a weakness as well. Now then, a common trope is that people become vampire if bitten by one. However, this one might also be invented by Hollywood as well. Because in mythologies, there are many ways one can become vampires, whether they are alive or dead. The most common ones are corpses that are jumped over by cats or dogs, untreated severe wounds by boiling water, people practicing sorcery during their life like witches. Um, how am I gonna say this one? Uh, Warning ahead of time. Suicidal victims that can kind of rise back up can become vampires. So that's your warning description. Anyways, evil spirits possessing a corpse or even dying from a plague. There are other ways, like being the seventh child was determined to be fated to be a vampire in Romanian myths, or even dying with a sin and not repenting. Basically, there are a bunch of different ways that someone can become a vampire. Anyways, vampire cultures has always been feared in many cultures, especially in European cultures. Boy, that's a lot of cultures. As a major rise in belief and fears of vampires reached a frenzy in the 18th century. In fact, the fear was so great that people of Transylvania and southeastern regions would dig up graves of potential vampires and stake the body, decapitating them or leaving sickles at the neck. Vampire hunting groups were also formed to take down vampires or any reverence in general, and even government officials joined in the hunt. Mass hysteria and multiple accounts of vampire attacks led to the major beliefs and culture of vampires in Europe. However, later on, as the frenzy died, the belief of vampires have led these creatures to be adopted in future media and becoming a major icons as supernatural beings. From TV shows like Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Wait, was it Buffy the Vampire Slayer? Anyways, Buffy or the Vampire Diaries, to movies like Dracula and I Am Legend, to vampire characters like Marceline of Adventure Time, and Count Von Count of Sesame Street. Many books are also based from vampires, from Carmilla to Lord Ruthven and Leston, and of course, the best one being Bram Stoker's Dracula, the most powerful and famous vampire of all that inspires so many Draculas in games, movies, TV series, and other forms of media. And speaking of Dracula, he is most likely inspired by Fel Dracula, aka Fel the Impaler, the Voivode of Wallachia, who became a hero to Romania, but a feared figure to Romanian enemies. It was said that he impaled tens of thousands on large wooden stakes and even drank their blood, which could have inspired the Count Dracula. Plus, Romania is rich with vampire and other supernatural creatures, which probably helped with the inspiration as well. And of course, vampires are also one of the most iconic creatures for Halloween, with so many props and costumes to buy, which Halloween is popping up pretty soon. So in other words, vampires are truly creatures that stand the test of times. And also, who wouldn't want to see that face? The one that looks like he's wanting to bite your neck off. Alrighty. So that's pretty much it for the Creature of the Week segment. What do you guys think of the vampire? Do you think that they are truly powerful beings? Do you think they might be a little overrated? Do you think that Dracula is a really cool character? Do you think that I might be talking way too much about vampires? Let me know later on in the future. Alrighty, so we got the Creature of the Week stream out of the way now. So it is time to go on to the art stream. But before that, in case I want to load this up on YouTube, I hope you guys have a fun time. Hope to do more Creatures of the Week on YouTube and stuff later on. Check me out on Twitch, aka Twitch and X, aka Twitter, and all that stuff. Anyways,